I'm Brie, and this is my sister Jules. I'm an English teacher.
And I can't believe that we're in season 2.
And together, we drink wine as we unpack the brilliant writing of the hit 90s sitcom, Boy Meets World. Cheers!
Cheers!
Woo! Season 2!
Whoop whoop.
What are we drinking?
Today we're drinking our first Chianti.
It's delicious.
It better be for $27.99.
We're starting off a little spency. I know I'm the one that's like, I don't want to spend that much money on the wine. And then I recommended this bottle, which I kind of forgot was expensive. I was supposed to receive a Wink order because we were going to do that this season. They attempted delivery 3 times. And all 3 times, it was almost like that episode of SpongeBob where he's waiting for the bus, and every time he looks for the bus, it's not there. But then the minute that he turns away, the bus goes by. That was me on this package, like, because I had to sign for it because it's alcohol. I don't have a place for them to leave packages in my Brooklyn apartment. Otherwise, it would just be a box of bottles of wine sitting on the streets of Brooklyn. We should take bets for how long that would actually last before someone would not only take them, but drink them all.
I give it 2 minutes.
I wasn't able to get the package, and very long story short, I ended up being like, hey, let's just do this bottle that like our parents drink a lot in the household. So this is kind of like the Rosa household table red.
Yes, and so hopefully moving forward, we'll actually be doing subscription wine boxes. So if any subscription wine boxes would like to sponsor us, we are all ears.
So many ears, all of the ears.
The Chianti we are drinking is Ruffino. And for those that don't know, a Chianti is a red wine from the Chianti region of Tuscany, Italy. And it's also one of the most famous and historic Italian wines. Medium-bodied with high acidity and firm tannins. An intense ruby red hue with elegant aromas of violet, cherries, wild berries, and plums. Subtle, spicy hints of tobacco and white pepper complement the bouquet, as they say. On the palate, it offers a velvety texture with fresh fruit flavors balanced by gentle tannins and a persistent mineral-driven finish.
Dang, what a description. But you know what's crazy? The whole time I was like, yeah, there it is. The pepper, the tobacco.
The pepper, certainly.
It's good. It tastes like Italy. Italy.
What?
Did you ever see that person making fun of all of the like Miss countries? Miss Thailand and Miss Italy and Miss France.
Oh, yes, yes. Yes, I know exactly what video you're talking about.
The Italy one is so funny. It's like, Italy!
There was one that was super aggressive. I can't remember which one it was.
It's France.
Oh.
France!
France! There's one more thing I wanted to mention about this wine. I was curious about Chiantis in general, what makes a Chianti. Well, first of all, it has to be from the Chianti region of Tuscany. Also, Chiantis use Sangiovese grapes. Sangiovese comes from the Latin sanguigiovi. Do you know what that means?
Is there anything to do with the word sanguine?
Sangui means blood, and jovi.
Blood. Yes. Wait, say the second part again.
Jovi or Jovi. Jupiter. So it literally means blood of Jupiter. Isn't that fancy?
That's beautiful.
It's like we're drinking the blood of Jupiter.
What? I love that. That's why it's so good. Jupiter the god, Greek mythology. Well, that's Roman mythology.
Yeah.
But
still,
a little bit related to the literature in this episode. And here we go with another episode where the drink is related to the lit. I think we should do that. We should try to snake our way to the episode through like descriptions of the wine and talking about the wine until we make our
that'll be a challenge, but I accept it.
Let's get into it. Season 2, episode 1. Woo! This episode is called Back to School with the number 2. Synopsis: Cory tries to avoid the difficulties of his transition to high school. Air date, September 23rd, 1994.
I was still not alive yet.
I was curious, I was like, oh yeah, when did the last episode air? And it was May 13th, 1994. So they basically took like a summer break.
But they look so much older.
But again, you'd be surprised how much kids will grow in a summer. You know, that's 3 months basically.
That's true. And it's like prime puberty years. You grow very quickly.
But I thought it was cool that this episode started in September, like when school starts, you know?
Yeah.
It really was like back to school.
Yeah.
And I kind of feel like we miss that as a society. I mean, I don't want to get back into the whole thing I talked a lot about last year, but like that's also something that is nice when everyone's getting cable TV, right? And like we're all watching the same stuff and it's not like streaming where everyone's watching different stuff. Like that can happen, you know, like TV can imitate life in that way and y'all can feel like, Cory's going to school.
I specifically remember watching back to school episodes around the time I would go back to school and finishing seasons at the end of the school year where it was like, summer. There's something about it that was like extra special.
So this was written by a new writer that I was like, I thought we had this writer before because the name felt familiar, but we haven't. It was written by David Kendall, who I was curious about the writing and ended up finding out that he did not write any other episodes, as I said, but he did direct 13 episodes throughout the series. This was directed by David Trainer. The viewers, there were 19.2 million viewers for this one. And I was curious. I was like, I wonder like how the numbers look for the rest of the series. Looks like the numbers do kind of dwindle. I mean, it still like obviously goes up and down, but it's like the stock market where it goes up and down, but overall it goes down.
Yeah, that's interesting. This is me speculating, but I wonder as the show becomes more mature and the themes are more mature, viewers that are watching it are going to be more mature and maybe there's that audience just
isn't home.
They're just not there. Yeah, they're just not there to view it.
They're out living life. Good for them. I think it was Once in Love with Amy in season 1 that peaks. Like that is the highest number of viewers that the entire series, that any episode in the entire series has. It's like 24 point something. Yeah. All right. So let's get into the script as we do. Alan, Amy, and Morgan are in the kitchen and they're having breakfast. And Alan yells up the stairs, Cory, let's go. You want to be late for your first day of high school? And Amy's like, Alan, don't yell at him. He's probably a nervous wreck. Cory hops down the stairs, all happy-go-lucky. Hey, Mom. Hey, Dad. How you doing? Hey, Morgan. Looking short. Morgan has her first line of season 2. Go back to camp, loser. Audience loves it.
Oh, I missed her.
Did you? I was really hoping she'd have like a new persona this season.
Oh my gosh. Speaking of new persona, how could we forget the new intro?
Thank you. Totally forgot. New intro. What'd you think?
New intro. Loved it. I definitely think that they got feedback. They were like, cut it down, get rid of the cheese, short and sweet. I love it. That has a special place in my heart, but we're in 7th grade now. We need something cooler. We need sunglasses on Cory, and he needs to push the world away from him.
I cannot wait for Will's Mommy as well. I can't wait. So there's the little breakfast scene and we get a whole lot of dialogue that basically amounts to Cory saying that he's all prepared for high school. You know how you tell me, Dad, like the earlier I do my homework, the better I'll know stuff. And Amy's like, you did the homework? All excited. Cory's like, no, it's a metaphor. But all summer long, I bugged Eric about what high school is going to be like and I took notes. Okay, so his plan is today, first day of school, I make friends with the most feared and influential senior in high school, Harley Kiner. And in one master stroke, I go from lowly first-year victim to Harley's most trusted advisor.
It's a pretty big plan for a 7th grader, but smart, I think.
I thought it was genius. It reminded me of the pecking order survival of the fittest theme in the episode. What it was called now. Remember? Like he's I got it. Survival of the fittest. I gotta basically become a barnacle on the butt of the highest level predator in the food chain. And, you know, as long as I've got him on my side, no one can mess with me because I'm one of his cronies.
Yeah, smart.
So smart. Okay, so what was actually blowing my mind was, and it was consistent with like the way the parents were last season, is that the parents were like, okay, honey, like interesting plan. Let's see how that works out for you. Versus, are you kidding me? No. If my kid was like, I'm going to start hanging out with the worst kid, the kid who has not graduated and, you know, the biggest bully in the school, I'd be like, no, I don't want you hanging out with that kid. I don't want you getting influenced by him. I don't want, you know, like you should be an upstander in your society, not someone who tags along with the bully and joins his pack.
Plus a 12-year-old versus an 18-year-old, or I guess he's probably like 21, assuming he's been in high school for so long.
Certainly looks
it's
like it.
you shouldn't be anywhere near somebody like that.
Exactly.
It's a huge age gap.
Again, his parents are very cool, very much the parents of the enlightened sort of progressive Brooklyn scene, which I feel that I operate in a lot, which is this like, let the kids figure out their lives and give them a lot of agency and let them make mistakes and learn real world consequences. But Amy says, Cora, as proud as I'd be to see you become Harley's toady footstool, you don't have to reinvent yourself for high school. So she does make a sarcastic comment about how she would not be proud if he, became cronies with Harley. For her, it's more about like, don't go changing to try and please me. Sorry, that's what our dad always used to sing when we would talk about changing.
All the time.
Clothes. And Alan says, you don't need a plan. Nobody else has a plan, which would have actually really been a good thing for me to hear. I think if I was freaking out as a freshman, like it's true. No one has a plan. Like everyone's just figuring it out.
I didn't feel that way in junior high or high school. I never thought, I don't have a plan. I don't know what's going on. The path was made for me. It was when I got to college and beyond that it was like, suddenly it's like, okay, figure it out. It's like, wait. I don't know how to figure it out. Everything's always been written out for me.
Yep. You're so right. I struggled with that too in college. I was like, what do you mean? You're just supposed to tell me what classes I take and then I show up. What do you mean I have to choose the classes?
Yeah.
It's a big moment because you're like, oh, do I even want to be here? Like, do I want to be in school? Like, do I want to learn these things? Yikes. So Sean walks in with fake sideburns on. Right after Alan had just said nobody else has a plan, Sean like bursts in going, Cory, I lost our copy of the plan. I knew I shouldn't have left the old school. I was so cool in the old school. They had no right to pass me. I am an idiot.
They had no right to pass me.
How dare they?
We love self-awareness.
It is pretty crazy that he passed.
Yeah.
And Amy says, see, Sean's not reinventing himself. And Alan's like, Sean, are those sideburns? Fast forward a little bit. Basically, Eric comes in and he makes Cory sign a contract. Cory starts reading it and he says, with regard to my brother, Eric Matthews, hereafter referred to as O Great One, I, Cory Matthews, hereafter referred to as Insignificant Speck, pledge to never contact the Great One verbally or non-verbally during any and all school hours from this day forward forever and ever. Amen.
I laughed.
Which he adds at also just Ben Savage being a savage. He read that so beautifully. Excellent acting, excellent reading comprehension skills.
Yes.
So Eric basically says the fact that I'm related to a 7th grader, I'll lose all my status. I might as well strap on a tuba and join the band. Okay, so then Feeney walks in and Feeney addresses the family. He goes, Amy, Alan, etc. Cory kind of interrupts and says, so, Mr. Feeney, are you feeling any regret that you're losing us from your class? This was the first time I laughed out loud. The way Feeney goes, no. So Feeney's like, there's a large rusty object blocking not only my driveway, but most of the light to my kitchen. It's basically Eric's new car. So maybe I'll figure it out later as we keep talking about the episode, but there was definitely something a little off for me with the writing. Maybe it's because of the gay comment. I was like, I'm out. I hate this, but we'll get there. Sean says, Feeney leaves. Sean says, it just hit me. High school means we're through with Feeney. He's like, this is the greatest day of our lives. And then they do their hilarious handshake. And then they kind of like up it because then they're like, we're in high school now. We have to be cool. And then they try to do like a cool handshake and it kind of makes it even more uncool because they're like, ooh, yes. Like while they're doing each move.
It's adorable.
It is cute. We said we were going to do their secret handshake and then we never did it.
Oh yeah, you're right. We never did it. All right, we'll do it and then we'll post it on our first TikTok.
So, Sean, are my sideburns on straight? Cory's like, Sean, what are you worried about? Look, it's just a school. There's the lockers, there's a class, and a kid in his underwear. And a kid comes by and he's in his underwear. And he's like, they took my clothes. And Cory's like, who? And kid's like, seniors took my clothes. And Cory's like, why? And kid's like, just because I'm a new guy. Cory's like, well, I'm a new guy. And kid's like, well, good luck to you. And Cory's like, no, don't worry about it. He must have had it coming. He must have done something. And then we get Frankie Stachino.
Yes.
Frankie.
I had one of those moments where I was like, Oh my God, I forgot about you. I loved him.
Right?
Yeah.
Frankie, he's a poetic, soft, gentle giant. We love him.
Yes.
He
was also wearing my outfit of the day. I think he was wearing a jean shirt and he just looked really good in it. I also did want to mention, as this scene was taking place, the door that Cory swung open earlier closed and the guy that he hit was like smushed up against the door. And I just love little details like that in shows where it's happening in the background and it's not full frame, but you can kind of see it. Either you see it or you don't. And I just love the attention to detail. It was very funny.
By the way, you should Google the actor who plays him real quick. Actually, I kind of want to see your reaction. Google Frankie Stachino actor.
Ethan Suplee.
Mm-hmm.
Ethan Suplee. Whoa! Glow up! Wow.
Right?
Good for you. He is like a bodybuilder now. He looks great. To be clear, he was always cute. I always liked him, but
true.
Good for him for getting really buff.
So Frankie Stachino grabs Cory, pushes him up against the lockers, and Cory's like, what did I do? And Frankie's like, you were almost in my way. And Cory's like, you're Frankie Stachino, right? And Frankie's like, yeah, how'd you know? And Cory's like, strong. He reads his notes. He goes, strong territorial sense. Sean's like, oh, we were just looking for our homeroom. And then we get Joey the Rat.
Joey the Rat.
Did you know that Joey the Rat was in Rilo Kiley? He's the lead guitarist in that band.
Oh, I did not know that.
He was also good friends with Adam Scott through Boy Meets World, and Adam used to sell merch at their early shows.
I slept on Adam Scott for so long, and then I watched Severance. Big fan of Severance. He's always been fine. He'll always be Ben Wyatt to me.
I know. He has such a range.
I know. He's got range. He's great. He's a great actor.
Also, I just listened to the Smartless episode with him. So
me too!
Oh, so Sean was just like, we're just looking for our homeroom. And Joey the Rat's like, it's in there. And I got a little confused because I thought he actually because I knew that the classroom was right over there because I know the show. So I was like, oh, yeah, that is where his homeroom is. But he was pointing to the locker. Mm-hmm. Sean's like, in there? The locker? Joey's like, right there.
Oh, a willing participant.
I know. And Sean's like, thank you. Thank you very much. Just gets right in so enthusiastically, like scooches into the locker and then just goes, hey, I'm the first one here. And then closes the door. Oh, such a good actor. Frankie turns to Cory, and now for you. Why was you almost in my way? Cory's like, if I was in homeroom, I wouldn't be anywhere near your way. Frankie gets confused by that. Huh? Joey goes, I think he's saying if he was someplace else, he wouldn't be here. And Frankie goes, what? You saying I'm gay? Which, I understand we're supposed to be like, okay, he's stupid. I get it. But also like, why? Because then, of course, Cory's like, no, I didn't say that. Oh, God forbid I call you gay because that would be the worst thing I could possibly say about a human being. I would definitely get beat up if I called you gay because homophobia. I'm not saying it doesn't happen in high school hallways, okay? I'm just saying it's an educational show. And if it is normalized that we never want to call a person gay because that would be a huge insult, which implies that being gay is its own embarrassing state of being, right? It's shameful to be gay.
The one thing I will counter on that is when I saw that scene, I was a little bit pleasantly surprised that Frankie's reaction to that wasn't discussed. It was... Yeah. He decided to ponder it. He was like, right. I need to go away with my thoughts.
Yeah.
Right? Which kind of suggests like, he's okay with it. He's just curious now. That's what I got out of it. And I appreciated as a show that aired in 1994 that was the route they took. Because it could have been a lot worse.
It could have been a lot worse. It's true. You're so right. Oh, you made me like soften to that whole scene. Because now I'm thinking about him being like, am I gay?
Yeah, because it comes up again, right? And then he's like, I got to go away again and think about this.
I got to think about this. Wait, that's so cute. I love that.
The one thing that I kept thinking about this whole time was how odd it is for these seniors, or we should call super seniors because they've probably been there for many years, are picking on these little 7th graders. Like, don't you have better things to do? You and I went to the same middle school and high school, so we don't know what it's like to go to a school that combines both high school and middle school, right? Maybe it's normal that seniors will pick on the new meat, but to me, it feels like by the time you're 18, it's like, whatever, man, I'm getting out of here.
You're so right. I don't know if it would be seniors so much as like 9th graders.
Yeah. Totally. I could totally see 9th graders picking on 7th graders just because they're insecure and they want to look tough to the seniors.
Exactly.
They're insecure about like, oh, that's who I was a year or two ago. Seniors couldn't care less. They're just like, get me the heck out of here.
It always, every year, it blows my mind how bold some of these freshmen are. And I support a little bit of that animal kingdom. Like, we do need the older ones to kind of not literally, metaphorically, like smack around the younger ones a little bit. Like, just like, stop. Like, get it together. Like, you look like, stop. You're being annoying, you know? They
literally become a little fish in a big pond, right? Yeah. They were the king before and now they're not. And they learn very quickly, like, they get humbled very fast.
Exactly. So then Frankie and Joey leave and Cory opens Sean's locker and says, I think we can go now. Sean at first is like, no thanks, I think I feel a lot safer in here. And then a girl walks by and he's like, but the view is better out here. Lovely. Another girl who has no humanity and no character, but she's just sexualized for the boys. The end. And Cory's like, Sean, if Harley Kiner's the biggest and meanest, then who are those two who almost killed us? And Sean's like, what if they're the nice guys? What if they're the welcoming committee? Cory's like, what is this place? And so they like built up all this tension, and then from behind them, Topanga comes around and puts her arms around both of them, and they both go, ah! And Topanga's like, what? And they're like, Topanga! And then they both hug her. This part was weird. So Topanga's like, what's with you guys? Cory's like, we just missed you, that's all. And then he says, walk in front of us, because they're like scared. She's walking in front of them, and then she turns around and she goes, what are you staring at? And Sean's like, nothing. New blouse? And Topanga's like, yeah, I got it over the summer. And Sean's like, summer was very good to you. So they're implying that she has boobs, but that was choreographed weird. But I think they were probably trying to avoid the actual like weirdness of telling kids like, you have to look at her boobs. You know what I mean? And like, that would be weird. Like, I'm glad that the adults on set were like, maybe we don't do that. But it did make for a weird scene where like they're looking at her back and she's like, what are you staring at? And they're like, your boobs, basically, which makes no sense.
Yeah, it was a little weird. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I think they could have rectified that with like some better writing. That was one moment where I was like, the writing there. She was dressed in a way that I wondered for the actress. Like, I wondered for Danielle Fisher, because when my boobs were little puffy bumps like that, I was not going to be out there wearing like a shirt that showed them off. Maybe some kids are, but I was like, no, they're not ready yet.
Yeah. It was like, suddenly it was like, oh my God, what do I do with this? And I wanted to covering up. Wear like super padded bra as if that was going to cover them up. I'm like, no, you're just making them look bigger.
Yeah. So Sean's like, summer was good too. And Topanga rips off his sideburns and goes, yeah, well, at least what I grew is real. Bell rings. Topanga knows exactly where their homeroom is. We have Mr. Turner. Sorry, that was like so anticlimactic, but yay, Mr. Turner. First mention of him. I love Mr. Turner.
Love him.
Yeah.
He's so Uncle Jesse coded. I love him.
He is Uncle Jesse coded. That's a really good point.
Yeah.
Yeah, we love a leather jacket wearing jeans and boots, motorcycle driving, literary
shirt.
God.
Yep.
Smells a little bit like tobacco, but you never see him actually smoking a cigarette because it's children's television.
But you know he does.
You know he does.
We love Mr. Turner.
We love him. And he is a very good English teacher character. Like, that's that English teacher that you have freshman year of high school.
Yep. Oh, totally.
Even though they're not freshmen, but still. So Sean's like, oh, I can handle any teacher. And Mr. Turner walks in with his motorcycle helmet and his leather jacket. He walks over to the phone, to the pay phone at the school, which I was like, oh, snap. That must have been a thing back then. That's crazy. And he gets on the phone, but he doesn't talk to anyone. It was super weird. He just I guess he was listening to his voicemail or something. I don't know. And Cory's like, this is Harley. I know it. So he thinks that Mr. Turner's a super senior. And he's the guy he's been looking for. Sean's like, that guy's got to be 30 years old. Cory's like, he's a lifer. I think I made a very good first impression. Excuse me, sir. My name's Cory Matthews, and I want to be your friend. So cute. Turner's like, cool. Cory's like, yeah, I'll hold your coat for you. I'll stand in lunch line for you. I'll even do detention for you. Turner's like, yeah, nice offer. Why don't you just do the homework? Cory's like, not sure you want me doing your homework. And Turner's like, I want all my students doing the homework. Cory's like, you're so mean they gave you students?
Who's they?
I know. Turner's like, they give all the teachers students. I'm Jonathan Turner. You can call me Mr. Bell rings. You're late. Which twice teachers did that in this episode. Feeney did it too later when the bell rings and he says you're late. And I was like, neither of you guys are in your classrooms though.
Yeah.
So
everybody's late.
Everybody's late.
You're right.
Classroom.
Yeah. Which, by the way, as a type A girl, that gave me a lot of anxiety. I'm like, get in your classroom. You could be late. The bell is wrong.
The way these freshmen don't care about the bells. Oh my God. It's so weird to me. I'm like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Where's the fear?
Where's the fear?
So then we have our first English class with our new teacher, Mr. Turner. And they're reading The Odyssey, which is 100% what every freshman has to read as their first book in high school. Mm-hmm. Did you read it?
I finally read it. Yeah, I read it freshman year and I loved it.
I also read it freshman year. Who was your teacher again?
Mr. Vellucci.
I had Mr. Kilkelly, and we also did The Odyssey. What do you remember about it, if anything?
I do remember the sirens and the Cyclops. Mm-hmm. Scylla and Charybdis.
Yes,
I do remember that. Yeah.
It's just one of those works that you read that's because it's referenced in so many other things that it's a good thing to kind of have under your belt. Yeah. And it's also, for me, I always think more, big picture about these things rather than worrying so much about the details. And it's like your classic story that represents kind of our life's journey, which is we start off at quote unquote home, and then we kind of have to leave home and experience some trials and tribulations, and then we end up back at home. But when we return home, we are so much more enlightened because of the journey that we've been on. Mm-hmm. And so the Odyssey is that kind of classic original story that repeats throughout history and in every person's experience on Earth.
Yeah, which I thought was a great reference for the theme of this episode. He is, literally leaving home to go to school and experience the beginning of an epic journey, high school. And by the end of it, you are forever changed. You are mature. You've gone through a lot.
I don't see the end of high school as the end of the Odyssey, though.
For me,
my experience was I left and I taught abroad in Korea for 4 years from 2012 to 2017. I needed to leave home, have trials and tribulations, and then return home a more elevated version of myself.
Would you say that high school was not really an odyssey for you, but Korea absolutely was?
Yes.
Yeah.
But I think when people graduate high school, they don't generally return home. I do see it as its own series of trials and tribulations, but the way I think about the transformative odyssey that we all go through, I think of it as a much longer arc than high school. College, I think, is where a lot of people experience that odyssey. For me, I needed to extend it, and I went abroad for another 4 years after college. But when I returned home after that, that's when I was I had a new perspective on my home, and I was able to understand it for what it was, and I was able to accept its flaws, but I was able to really recognize all of the gifts that I had because of where I came from. And that's what I think an odyssey is supposed to be. It's supposed to bring you back home and for you have this like stronger sense of belonging in your home because now you're choosing to be at your home versus having just been born there and it's involuntary that you're home.
True. Yeah.
know?
So maybe in effect, like high school may be the start of that, but it ends at different times depending on the person, right? Some people, it's probably rare that somebody comes home after high school and is like, I'm done. I'm good. Like I'm changed and I'm back home where I belong and that's it. The journey is long, but it, is different depending on the person.
Totally. Yeah. So I guess what I'm saying is like Cory is starting off on an odyssey, but it's going to last way past high school.
Through the college years.
When
this boy meets world.
Boy meets world.
Wandering down this odyssey we call life.
Is what we're doing. It's good to know I have friends who will always stand by me when this boy meets world.
Nice.
We're in the classroom. They're about to read the Odyssey. And Mr. Turner's like, okay, I'm here for homeroom, I'm here for English, and I'm here anytime you just want to talk. Cory says, cool. Turner immediately turns on him for no reason. He's like, did I say you could talk? And Cory's like, I thought so. And Turner's like, you trouble Matthews? You the guy who's going to bring down the new teacher? Cory's like, no, sir, that would be Sean. Which later Sean's like, why would you say that? Turner asks the class, does anyone know what Odyssey means? Of course, Topanga raises her hand. I love that Turner like whispers to her, like, what's your name? And Topanga's like, Topanga. And he's like, Topanga. And Topanga's like, it means a difficult journey. Turner's like, yes, it does. An epic journey about a guy just trying to get home alive. In fantasy worlds with characters who have these ancient notions about loyalty and heroism. Which, like, sounds really cool. So I thought it was weird of Cory's character to be like, yeah, who wants to read that?
Yeah.
Like, come on, Cory. You're smart, though, sometimes.
I know. But Mr. Turner calls him out immediately.
He's like, yeah, apparently you do, because he sees that Cory has an X-Men comic on his desk, which obviously that's exactly what all that's about. Cory's like, you read X-Men? Turner's like, do I read X-Men? Fantasy worlds, epic heroism? Yeah, I read X-Men. In fact, let's all read X-Men. Your assignment is to read the Odyssey and this issue of X-Men. Cory's like, finally, a cool teacher. Turner's like, my friend Mr. Matthews will lead the discussion on the similarities and the differences. And Cory just turns to Sean and goes, Feeny with an earring.
I mean, he did just give you double homework.
Ooh, I would be so mad. I'd be like, damn it, now I gotta read X-Men too.
Yeah.
We get a transition. They're in the hallway. They have earth science, and basically, like, they get separated. One of them is earth science. The other one has history, and then they get separated in the hallway. And they're like, no, Sean, oh, Cory. And, like, all these people basically separate them out. And then what's left is Eric sitting in the hallway with a bunch of people not going to class. Classic Matthews boy. Come on, Amy and Alan. Your kids are not very good students. All right? So Eric's not going to class. And he's talking to a bunch of people and he's like, so Friday, Dylan's parents are going out of town. And Cory's like, Eric. He like goes up to him discreetly. Eric's like, you know me? Cory's like, I've heard of you. Eric Matthews, right? Cool junior, only child. Yeah, everybody's heard of you. Even insignificant specks like me who are having the worst possible day of their lives. I don't even do it as well as him. He's so good.
He's so good. He's so charismatic.
He's so charismatic. I love him so much. Eric's like, I don't care. Cory's like, thanks. See ya. Then we get Joey and Harley. So we finally meet Harley Kiner, the one that Cory's been trying to find, right? So Cory's like, Harley Kiner, how the heck are ya? And Harley's like, how the heck am I? Kill him. And Joey's like, hey, look, it's the kid from when you was gay.
Sorry. It's just a funny thing to say. It's the kid from when you was gay. Oh, I laughed so hard.
You know what? I had a problem with it, but you helped me, and now I think it's funny. Because Yes, you're right. Frankie just walks into the boys' bathroom and needs to ponder.
And you know what? That's him on his Odyssey.
I love that. Basically, Joey goes, "What?" And as Frankie's walking into the boys' bathroom, he just goes, "I need time."
Oh, you can have all the time in the world, Frankie.
Cory's like, "Look, Harley, I'll make this short and sweet. Everybody knows you're a tough guy, a vicious guy, but that's all they know. If you made friends with a 7th grader and just, looked out for him all year, everyone would like you even more." And Harley's like, "What's your name, kid?" Cory Matthews. "Nah, that's a poofy name. If you're going to hang out with me, you've got to have a name that inspires fear and respect. Let me look at you. I got it. From now on, you are Johnny Baboon." Cory's like, "Cool."
I remembered that. Like that, for some reason, stuck with me. I was like, oh yeah, I feel like I remember him saying Johnny Baboon.
Johnny Baboon, right? Like the way he said it, sticks with you.
Yeah.
Frankie Two Toes.
Yeah, Frankie Two Toes.
So then we get a teacher that Marion Stimpleman, this teacher that I was like, I feel like they thought this was going to be more of a character because they gave him a full name, but then he wasn't. Like he never comes back. So this teacher comes in. "The bell rang, gentlemen, several minutes ago. What are you doing in the hall? You shouldn't be in the hall. What's your name?"
I thought he does come back. Is that his only episode?
I don't remember him if he does come back.
I vaguely remember him.
Oh, all right. I feel like he replaced who was the guy that worked with Alan at the store?
Oh,
he said his name so many times. I feel so bad because they would just be like, "We know who you are."
We can't forget. Wait, no. Oh shoot, no, we can't let this go. I'm sorry, guy. What's your name? I don't remember his name.
Leonard Spinelli.
Leonard Spinelli.
I'm so glad we got it. I feel like this guy's supposed to replace him in a way. Marion Stimpleman. He asks what Cory's name is. Cory says, "Johnny Baboon." And the teacher's like, "You making fun of me? Nobody makes fun of Marion Stimpleman." And then they go to the principal's office. Turns out, bum, 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 the principal is Feeney. Exactly. Cory's like, "Mr. Feeney?" And Feeney goes, "The legend continues." I love when he's like self-aware that he is a legend, like
I love it. I love it.
Yeah, amazing. Now then, Mr. Stimpleton, what exactly did Mr. Matthews do? Mr. Stimpleton, he got on my nerves. Feeney, I can't imagine. Well, Mr. Matthews, why don't we treat this little rendezvous as a dress rehearsal for the many visits we'll undoubtedly have this year? Cory's like, huh? Feeney's like, "Get out of my face." Cory's like, "Okay, sure. My next class is American history with Mr.
Yes. Yeah.
And then the bell rings and Feeney says, "You're late." "So are you, Mr. Feeney." So then we transition to Cory and Harley walking in the hallway together. Harley basically tells Cory, "I'm going to beat you up at 3:00 after school." And then we're in the cafeteria. And we get a conversation between Feeney and Turner, which I find really interesting. And it starts this theme throughout this season that really was one of the reasons I also wanted to start this podcast, because it explores the idea of like the new versus the old teacher. And I love that this show shows the positives and negatives of both sides, because while new teachers are so wonderful generally because they do shake things up and they engage kids in really exciting ways, and kids always love the new teacher, and the new teacher, because they're unorthodox and they connect with them, and they do things like read X-Men tonight and that kind of stuff. It's flawed. And I'm old enough now, and I'm far enough in my career now where I can recognize that, because I was the new teacher not too long ago, and I was doing all the unorthodox things, thinking that's I'm fixing everything, I'm fixing the system, I'm finally doing things right because the system's all wrong, and I'm fixing and now that I'm older, I'm like, oh no, we do actually need those, Feenies. We need the curmudgeon-y old school teachers, because we do need some structure and order, and there is a lot of value in those sort of tried and true traditional educational moves that they weren't chosen arbitrarily, right? Like they were honed by years of education and craft and learning and adapting to kids and what they need and whatever. But of course, like the further along you go, the more you can kind of get you become more distanced from the kids and what interests them too, and like who they are, and for example their slang, and like, you know, the new things that they're engaging with, and the new technology and the new, you know, media, whatever it is. But they do need the structure, right? Because
Yeah.
at the end of the day, when they're alone, which they're alone a lot, you know, not a lot, but like they have quite a bit of time, you know, as you get into your adolescence, you kind of move up in years, you have more and more freedom from your parents. You're able to go off and hang out with your friends without your parents. And all those times are completely unstructured and completely unchaperoned. And those are times when kids can absolutely get into capers and make mistakes and all that stuff. But school doesn't need to also be a place where they have completely unstructured time, or when they're totally indulging in, you know, whatever it is that excites them or interests them. I'm not saying school shouldn't be exciting and interesting, but what I'm saying is that if they're getting some structure and some explicit education and teaching in school, and then they're not getting any of it when they're, you know, also socializing, which they need as well, it can kind of be this good marriage of like two things coming together to make them really great, upstanding people, you know?
Yeah, there needs to be some sort of balance.
Yeah.
I agree with that. Yeah, that makes sense.
But Turner, I think, is a great teacher because he doesn't say, cool, we're not going to read the Odyssey. We're just going to explore these themes through the X-Men. He's like, we're going to read both.
Yeah. Yeah. And he was receptive of Feeney's feedback too.
Yeah. Sorry. My iPad almost died. My iPad died.
A story in 2 parts.
Feeney's like, Mr. Turner, if I might have a word. And Turner says, yeah, sit down. And Feeney says, and the word I believe would be Shazam, referencing the X-Men comic. Turner says, yes, George, I did assign a classic comic book. And Feeney says, I realize that you're the new groovy teacher and I'm the hardbound traditionalist. Turner's like, I just thought I might use the material to sort of relate to them on their level. And Feeney says, oh, Mr. Turner, their level is the level of the beasts of the field. I want them off that level and closer to our level, or should I say, my level. Ouch.
Damn.
Feeney gets up to leave and Turner just asks, George, you really think I'm a groovy teacher? So then we are in the lunchroom. We get a shot of Eric talking to a bunch of girls about his car. Sean goes over to try to advocate for Cory. He's like, psst, oh, great one. Eric's like, what are you doing here, Sean? I'm just calling him that. I don't know what his name is. I don't know his name is Sean or anything. And one of the girls goes, too bad.
Ow, ow.
Okay.
This is the start of Sean being a bit of a babe.
His sideburns are off at this point, right? Because Topanga ripped them off?
Yes, they're off.
Okay, good. That makes sense. Because if she liked him with the sideburns on, I'd be like, no.
Yeah, no.
Unrealistic. And Eric's like, okay, what? I guess the girls like you, so I'll listen to you. And Sean's like, okay, it's about your brother. Eric's like, it's school hours. I have no brother. Sean's like, yeah, and at 3:00, you'll really have no brother. So then we transition to the water fountain, and Cory's just like leaning against the wall, acting like he doesn't know Eric, and Eric's bending over to get water, but they're not looking at each other. It's like this drug exchange or something. And Eric's like, make this quick. And Cory's like, help. Eric's like, how could you possibly get into this much trouble in one day? All right, look. Last bell, head straight to the nurse's office. Tell them you're sick. You have to have mom and dad come pick you up. Cory's like, won't I look like a coward? Eric's like, yeah, you will. So why don't you fight him? So then we're outside the nurse's office. Cory's going to try to go home. He's sitting with the other nerds who are like, it's fine. We'll just go to the nurse's office every day for 6 years. No big deal. And that's when Cory's like, you know what? I'm not going to sit here and fake an injury like a coward. I'm going to go get a real one, a real injury. So the bell rings. So then we're in the hallway and Cory's like waiting basically for Harley to show up so he can confront him and basically get injured. And Turner walks out of his classroom. He's heading home and he stops to say hi to Cory. And he's like, hey, Matthews, we survived day one, huh? And Cory's like, the day is young, sir. And so was I. And Turner's like, I'll see you tomorrow. Cory's like, yeah, I'll be the one face up in the suit.
Face up in the suit? What does that mean? Oh, I didn't get that. That's funny.
Yep, the corpse in the coffin. Turner's like, you okay, Matthews? Cory's like, Mr. Turner, that book you gave us, the Odyssey? Did the guy in that get home alive? Turner's like, yes, he did. He gets past the Cyclops, the evil sirens, and the clashing rocks. Cory's like, did he go to this high school? Turner's like, no. Cory's like, he's a nothing. So Cory's like, well, it's 3:05. Maybe he's not going to show. Harley shows up. And maybe I'm just trying to be casually late, Mr. Anal Compulsive.
Anal compulsive, where is that from?
So this is what Miss Murdoka, my sophomore year English teacher, told us. And I remember the whole class being like, what? You know how like Freud had all these ideas about how whatever habits you form in your like infancy and toddlerhood like will inform who you become when you're older. Mm-hmm. So like oral fixation, if you don't like, have enough like oral stimulation when you're a kid because you want to put everything in your mouth, then you like develop an oral fixation when you're older. Anal compulsive. Apparently, one of the ways that kids will experiment with their agency over their own body is by holding in their poop. Oh. So if you develop a fixation with holding in your poop to gain control, you become anal. It's associated with being anal compulsive when you're older. So you like everything a certain way. And I think of it as like puckering up your butt. And keeping your butt inside. Keeping your poop inside, I mean.
Isn't that just potty training?
Yeah, it is potty training. But I guess maybe I'm not explaining it well enough where there develops a kind of abnormal behavioral pattern around it.
I don't know why I never questioned the origin of that term. Why am I just casually saying anal and not thinking of a butt?
Right? It's literally me all the time with words. Like, I'm like, do you know why you're saying that? Like when the kid, oh my God, you know what the thing is? I think I might have to cut this. You know what the thing is that the kids say that I'm like, do you know what you're saying? Raw dogging.
Oh, yeah.
Do you know what I mean? I'm like, you don't know what you're saying, so stop saying it.
Yeah.
Or if you do know what you're saying, stop saying it.
I do say that a lot, but I do know what that means. But I will say, I've definitely was like 13 saying things that I had no idea what I was saying.
Exactly.
And then there's one day they were like, do you know that means XYZ? And then you're like, oh.
Yeah.
Even raw dogging is very trendy.
Yeah. Even the word sucks. When they say sucks, I'm like, don't say that. They're like, why? I'm like, because you don't know what you're saying. And I do. Stop. Cory's like, look, don't toy with me. I was looking forward to high school. I had a plan. I gave you a chance to change your whole future and not be a guy who beats up on kids who are smaller than you for the rest of your life. Harley's like, you were giving me that chance? And Cory's like, yeah. And Harley's like, well, here I stand at the crossroads of my life. Yet I am what I am and I must kill you. Aren't you going to run or whine or something? Cory goes, no. I am what I am too. I'd rather be dead than be the school coward for the next 6 years.
That's pretty brave.
This is like one of the reasons I love this character. And I love people who do things like this, where they're like, you know what? This is who I am. What are you going to do? You're going to fight me? All right. I think what lesson this teaches kids is when you just are authentically yourself. Oh my God, I just realized this is an Odyssey. Because the whole point of an Odyssey is you start off at home, you leave home, and then you come back home wiser and more mature and with a new appreciation for your home, right? So Cory starts off being himself, and then he tries to retreat from being himself. He's like, I'm going to be friends with this guy and blah, blah, blah. And I'm going to, basically manipulate the system and try to make it through high school in this way by not being who I am, right? Because Amy at the start says, Cory, why don't you just be yourself? Right. And he's like, no, I can't do that. Here is the moment where he just goes, you know what? I am what I am. And he returns to who he is. And that's what ultimately, that's
the success story. Yeah.
That's the success story. That's what an Odyssey is.
Because I know one of the themes in the Odyssey is, doesn't the main character also go through a lot of disguises throughout his journey to like get by some of the enemies, and at the end he's disguiseless, he's back to his self again.
Interesting. Yes, cunning, disguise, a lot of like self-restraint in order to get through each of the
like challenges.
So right.
Yeah, disguises to get through the challenges.
Yep. And then by the end he's himself. You're so right. And so Sean does the same thing, right? His sideburns, when they get ripped off, that's when he's attractive to a female.
Yeah.
Okay, so Cory just said, no, I am what I am too. I'd rather be dead than be the school coward for the next 6 years. And Harley goes, you done? Cory goes, guess I am. Eric comes out of nowhere. Guess again. And Cory's like, what are you doing here? And Eric goes, I have no idea. As he's not looking at Cory, but looking directly at Harley. But I do know that I'm not going to stand by and let you beat up somebody that I don't even know at all. And he's like, okay, he's my brother. And Harley's like, oh, this is your brother. And Cory's like, didn't he just say that? Did he not just say that I'm his brother? Just how stupid. And Eric's like, puts his hand over Cory's mouth and he's like, Cory, don't provoke. And Harley's like, well, how sweet, a chance to wipe out the whole baboon family. And then Mr. Turner shows up. Talk about the pecking order. Harley just looks at him and goes, could I take you? Turner goes, nah. Harley leaves. Turner turns to Cory. So, Odysseus, looks like you may get home safely. Cory says, thanks, Mr. Turner. I'll see you tomorrow. And Mr. Turner says, read the book. Cory goes, I lived it. Cory goes over to the locker. Sean, you can come out. The fight's over. Our high school reputations are set. And Sean opens the locker. And he's in the locker with a girl.
Ooh.
And he says, I'm still working on mine.
Ooh.
And closes the locker door.
And did you hear the audience too? They were like, ooh.
And Cory goes, big lockers in high school. They are naughty, naughty boys. Let me say that.
Hey, they're getting older. The jokes are getting more mature.
I don't even know what I would do if I found two kids making out in a locker. I'd be like, get the
I would be
fuck outta
terrified. I'd be like, how the hell did you both fit in there? That's so scary.
Oh my God. Gross. It's so
also, I would be so claustrophobic.
Right?
How do you open it from the inside? You can't.
All right. That actually concluded the episode, but then we get a button. Cory, bursts into his living room, and his mom and dad and Morgan are on the couch watching TV. And Cory says, ladies and gentlemen, moms and dads and weasels, I give you the man who said he didn't have a brother, the man who said he didn't know me. Eric, the great one, Matthews. And Eric says, some goon at school was trying to pick on Cory just because he's bigger than him. Don't you hate that? I hate that. And Cory goes, I know, I hate that too. And Eric says, who asked you, Speck? And then they start kind of like bickering and hitting each other. And then Alan hits them both. And then Amy's like, don't hit the kids. And then Morgan shuts it all up by going, hey, everybody be quiet. I'm trying to watch TV. And then there's silence. And then she goes, that's power. The end of episode.
I really like the use of the Odyssey as the theme for this episode, given the story, given that it's the first day of high school. I thought it was great.
I realized in breaking this down with you that the point of the episode was that if you are yourself, that's how you'll best get through high school without being bullied or targeted, right? Like, I remember there was this guy who would like talk to schools about how to basically like beat bullies and
how to like survive.
And his whole message was disarm them by not caring. Like,
yep, exactly. You have to not care. You just have to be yourself. And like the second a bully will sense that you're trying to suck up to them, try to conform to them, try to be something you're not, they're going to see that right away and they're going to take advantage of that. So if they
Exactly.
know that you are confident in yourself or are faking it and just like not caring or ignoring, you will survive high school.
100%. And while that was shown in the episode for sure, I almost wish it was a little more explicit, because I think it would have been a really good lesson for kids to really walk away with, because it is an important one. And the fact that Cory is able to come around to learning that on day one, right? Like, you think of an Odyssey, like that's something that kids go through all of high school, maybe even all of college too, having to learn. Be yourself. It's so cliche and stupid, but it's so true. Like, stop trying to be something you're not, because that's what makes you kind of a target for people to like make fun of you. You know, it's like sad, but it's kind of just true. Like,
It's
people
true.
don't like phoniness. The way that kids treat teachers that they can tell are being phony or putting on a little bit of a, you know, like they're not being themselves. That's the way kids are with each other too. I'm proud of Cory for being able to realize that so quickly. Day one of high school, you know, not saying it's done. Now he's just going to be himself and everything's going to be fine. But it's cool to see them take him on an Odyssey in a 22-minute episode, right? Like, I kind of started off critiquing the writing, but I'm realizing now that it was a little better than I thought it was.
Yeah. But also, like, it is fitting that Cory would go through that sort of change within one episode, because he is always himself through and through. Like, his personality is very apparent. And so, like, it's easy for him to be like, oh, wait, what am I doing? I'm being ridiculous. Like, he was taken by fear because of change and scary, taller bullies. But he was quickly like, no, I'm going to be myself. That's it.
Yeah.
Done.
Right. And that was like something we constantly said last season too about him, that he just like can't help but be who he is, right? Like when Sean was, you know, when he was hiding Sean in his room, he couldn't help but say something. When his mom was cheating on his dad, but she wasn't, he couldn't help but say something. Like, he just is who he is. You know, what's wrong with commitment? Like, he just is who he is. We love him for that. And it's so funny, because we're actually succumbing to what I'm saying that people do, which is like, we're drawn to him. We like him as a character because he is who he is, right? Like, and if he was phony or didn't seem like a real, like, we wouldn't like him as much.
Right.
It's so human to feel that way.
It's the same thing with like with, you know, writing characters in general, right? Having a clear understanding of who they are makes us like them more. Even villains, right? Like, where we're inherently supposed to dislike them, but if they know exactly who they are, we like them in effect. Like, for example, the Joker in The Dark Knight. The Joker knows exactly who he is. And we like can't help but love the character. All right, our word of the day is Odyssey.
A long, arduous journey. Cool. That concludes the episode. Thank you so much for sticking with us. If you're here and you're back for season 2, thank you for coming back. We're sorry we took such a long break, but now we're going to be posting more regularly, so stay tuned. Rate and review us if you like what you hear. Follow us at Boy Meets Wine Podcasts. The name of the wine we had today was Ruffino Chianti. Theme song credit goes to Julia Rosa. And next week's episode is called Pairing Off. Cory becomes aware that everyone is part of a couple except him. Thanks for listening. Bye.
Bye.